Now, when I look at the evidence doesn't say what they're telling me. The evidence doesn't reveal what these people are telling us in the news and in these shows. What the evidence says clearly is this. There was a government conspiracy under the counterintelligence program to execute 2Pac Amaru Shakur. As a result, the contingency was put in play by various people. I can tell you who I believe, but I don't have the inside information to support this. I believe that the Black Liberation Army, Nation of Islam, and the Black Panther hierarchy of the real Panthers and not the pseudo-Panther agents, not them, the real Panthers. You got to keep that in mind. Geronimo Pratt was not a Los Angeles Panther, but he was a Panther out of Mississippi, a California Panther. Geronimo Pratt, Mississippi. Why is that important? Because the Panthers in Mississippi were first, different, and had a different psychology. When they realized the level of infiltration of the Panthers in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and various other places, the Mississippi faction of Panthers changed their name to the Black Liberation Army. Why did they change their name? They wanted to be distinguished from the group that was infiltrated. They wanted people that was wise enough to see the difference, to be able to know these are liberators. These are infiltrators, right? So now, what happened? Afeni married Matulu. Matulu is not a Panther, contrary to popular opinion. He's Black Liberation Army. Matulu is Black Liberation Army. Feeney was a Panther. Feeney had to find a solid individual to escape the infiltrators. I'm not going to get too deep into that right now. So now, in the decoding of 2Pac, as we go down the line, so in the planning of the deaths, they got to have people in play that are totally clueless, which takes us to the movie Eddie and the Cruisers 2, when Eddie returns and his best friend is irate and he hurt. I was your best friend. You deceived me. Now, why is that scene important? If you see the Eddie and the Cruiser, if you see the Eddie and the Cruiser situation, see if I can pull some of it up. I don't know if y'all be able to hear it or not. But in there, Sal, which is his buddy. Now notice Sal name got 3 letters, S-A-L. Sal's son asked him, is it okay if I go play with Richie? Names are keys too. Who would this Sal character be in real time? Whoever this Sal character be, his kid likes to play with Richie. Got to remember that. Sal's kid liked to play with Richie. That's no coincidence that my son's brother name is Richie. That's just not a coincidence. And so when we start moving into what's being said, what do Eddie tell Sal? He said, man, I couldn't take it. It was too much. So what did Finney say in the interview? She said, I wanted to fix it for my baby, but I couldn't. So he had to make her heart leave quiet. I just condensed some stuff from different parts of her interview into a sentence. So y'all find it in pieces in her interview. With the same interview where she talking about he chose to leave quietly, it's the same interview when she wanted to fix it for her baby. It's the same interview when there was nothing she could do. with all of the shit she knew, she didn't know how to stop these people from trying to kill her baby. So what do? He don't do nothing. But the contingency is executed to get him out alive. They have to get him out alive, to get him out intact. In order for him to be able to come out in 2019 with his next product, in order for him to connect with the Son of Man, Hiram, the raised one, and push this liberation to the next level. Now, I don't know this to be the facts, but I know our history. And in our history, we had a naming ritual. And we did it on both sides of the water, over here in the Amur Inca, and over there in the Afar Inca. On both sides of the water, we whisper every day until the child gave a coherent answer as to what their name was. You whisper it in their ear every day. And it had to be at the exact same time every day. And it has to be done by the mother. Only the mother can extract the true name of the child out. It can take as long as a year for the child to tell the mother coherently what their name is. Now, I believe, based on African conjure, not based on talking to Afeni or talking to 2Pac, but based on my knowledge of African conjure and watching this family live the matriarchal family lifestyle and watching their understanding of the culture, I believe every day she asked him, "What is your name?" Every day. 9 months go by, and he finally answered her, 2Pac Amaru. And when she looked it up and discovered who he was, if she didn't already know, she's like, "That's my baby, and I'm naming him that." Changing his name from Lazane Paris Cooks to 2Pac Amaru Shakur. Now, the name itself has a meaning. The shining serpent or the wise serpent. What are they talking about? They're talking about the gold cord or the gold light, that little sliver of gold in the heart that only your goodness, sincerity, passion, and determination to do what's right will turn it on. There's no other way to turn it on. You got to be sincere. You have to mean it. You have to do your due diligence, your work, and you have to strive for righteousness at all costs. Now, as you do this, if you go look Manly P. Hall, he talk about the internal processes of alchemy. He's talking about what takes place in here, in the physical self. So 2Pac now is in a good position to endorse anybody he want to. He can endorse anybody he want, but he's not going to endorse the wrong person. He's not going to endorse the wrong person. Now, who he going to endorse? He's going to endorse Lorenzo de Medici. He's going to endorse Hiram. He's going to endorse the one that's going to overthrow the beast. Now, go back. He said, "Mama, I have to fight the beast to rise." This is on his gotta rise, right? So why did the government's intensity in their search for 2Pac and in their search for Assata last year take an all-time high? They had not looked for 2Pac since '96, but in 2018, they launched an all-out investigation. The Federal Bureau of Investigations, Central Intelligence, and some other little shoestring organizations y'all probably never even heard of, went on an all-out mission to capture Assata and what they call their unknown suspect. But on the picture, it looked like an aged 2Pac, but he's the unknown suspect. And so they got pictures of 2Pac. But where did they get these pictures from? The pictures that they showing that they are calling the unknown suspect, that they are attaching to Assata Shakur. That's how you know that this got something to do with 2Pac. There's no record of Assata leaving Cuba, first and foremost. No record. They've been waiting on her to leave Cuba so they can sack her and attack her. There's no record. Now, this individual they're showing a picture of was taken at Benghazi. Now, you know Benghazi, while Barack Obama was in office and Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State, that when Benghazi went down, they would not send no support whatsoever at all. None. They knew who invaded it, why they was there, what they wanted, and what they was after. Instead of Obama, the so-called first black president, the one that was bringing the change that we haven't seen yet, in order for him to be what we needed, he would have made change in the black community equally as well as the overall nation, but he didn't do that. But when this event went down in Benghazi, what did he do? He got on the plane and flew out to a dinner. While these people are being held in Benghazi at an embassy. This is the equivalent of an invasion, right? Your embassy is your country on a foreign land. It's your enclave is what it's called. It's your foreign enclave. It is the area that no nation is supposed to breach because it's considered an act of war. But Obama didn't do anything, nor did Hillary, and both of them received the calls while the situation was in real time hot. And they didn't send any help. And none of us, citizens, as they call us, none of the people in this land said nothing. We just didn't even acknowledge it. But the picture, go back and investigate. You will be shocked to see this picture being attached to Assata out the blue. There got to be a relation here to Assata Shakur in order for them to do that. And they're not showing you the relationship. So now, what would bring Tupac from where he is, wherever that is, to surface? It would have to be somebody that's military minded. It would have to be somebody that could talk to a general. Maybe somebody that understood that we need a war cry. We need a what you call it? A cadence, like I'm heavy in the rap game with this platinum style. I teach my baby girl and she laced with platinum now. Bitch made ass niggas that tried to hold me down. I keep a set of twin Glocks, fully loaded clips. I'm similar to quick draw when I hit the hip. Stay away from gunplay if you really want to live. A military mindset keeping me on top. I ride on this government until they pockets drop. Reparations helping black men clean up the block. Listen, niggas live a hard life. Niggas need relief. We talking about them projects, misery and grief. We all fall victim to this governmental thief. Taxation so hard it feel like changing me. No job for an ex-con. What I supposed to be? Violating my parole if I try to sell a key. Nigga, back to the pen before the count of three. This is real life. Get the game from me. You know I'm talking real life, pain and misery. Learn to spit this platinum style now. Trying to clock a G. Refuse of being held down. Time to break free, nigga. And so when we take the music, what is the importance or the urgency of the music and the art? Because there's no artist that's allowed to be wealthy. All of the artists that are allowed to be wealthy have to basically sell their soul, or they have to give up something so valuable in order to keep their soul. So they call it the rites of sacrifice, the sacrificial rites. And the reason that is until now, none of the royal families or the Grail kings was allowed to have, hold, and maintain a wealth, a family legacy of wealth, or a structure that will facilitate the passing on of a legacy. And if you don't know why that is, you have to go back to how we got here. Those videos I did previously. From there, you understand that all of the stuff you see around you is not exactly what you see. It's exactly not what you see. Everything that you think you illusionary slant on what's really there. How did they put the slant on it? They put the slant on it by put the truth in plain sight, then slant the narrative, the way the truth is being expressed and told. That's where the deception come in. And so Tupac would have to do what the system would normally just kill him for real, like John Lennon or Freddie Mercury. Now, a lot of people don't know why Freddie Mercury died, which is directly ties to Tupac, by the way. First of all, his name of his group was called Queen, and they were all men. So that means that they give reverence to the feminine. Next thing, they made a soundtrack for a movie called The Highlander. Now, when you listen to that song, it says, I have the blood of kings. We're the princess of the universe. There is no man can be my equal. What he's talking about in there is what had them inject him with toxins, and they tell you that he had AIDS. He didn't die from AIDS. He died from, if they were AIDS, it was injected. He did not come down with AIDS from his lifestyle, as they had you believe. Freddie Mercury was assassinated like John Lennon, especially because he looked like Caesar Borgia, and he's using the right lingo in that song. That one song was enough, because he say flat out in there, if you don't know the history and the prophecy, it won't even matter. What did Moses do when he looked to the left and he looked to the right, and he did what to the Egyptian? Mama, I just killed a man. Who is he talking to? Queen of heaven and earth. What's the name of the group? This got him killed. This is the reason, because out of the blood of kings, no man can be my rival. So he's talking about the Grail Kings and Freddie Mercury. Mercury is the name of Thoth in Greece, or the messenger of the gods. So he definitely has to go. He's and then Freddie is slang for Frank. Frank is short for French. The French are the ones who killed the Templar, who was supposed to guard the Holy Grail. Fortunately, they sent the Holy Grail out, which is the bloodline of the red-haired princess Scotta. So they sent the bloodline to the west, where they left the Statue of Liberty to light the way. So now you realize why Tupac was so-called shot in the Empire State. Whose empire? What state? It's the Empire State. Whose empire? What's the name of the city? New York. Where is Old York? Where's the original York? It's in England. It's called Yorkshire, England. This is the New Yorkshire. It's telling you right there who owned the land. The British. The British own the land. But they don't really own the land. They own the cutout that is a false demarcation of the land. It's the Empire State. And that's why in the movie King Kong, he's not climbing any building but the Empire State. Why is he climbing the Empire State building? Because only the king of the Congo will overcome the empire. They telling you in their movies. Tupac knew this. What else did he know? He know that he ain't going out like that, because he flat out said it. Now, what else did he tell you? You say, in time, all this going to come out. He told you that early on. He said, all this got to come out right before he, was shot in Vegas, or shot at in Vegas. I don't even believe he was hit. But he said, all of it has to come out. All the secrets got to be revealed so that the people know. I did everything righteous by the rules of war. And so if don't nobody understand what he's talking about, they don't know warfare, they don't know military strategy, military doctrine. So now we go to Machiavelli, and then we go to Machiavelli. Niccolo Machiavelli writings won him favor with Lorenzo Medici. Now, Lorenzo Medici middle name is the Piero, which means the dog. The dog star is Sirius. And the people of the dog star are dark-skinned, woolly-haired people called Dogon. All this ain't, none of this stuff is coincidental. These are all what you call keys. Now, by me never standing in the lodges, never walking through none of the lodges, Prince Hall, Scottish Rite, York Rite, the Shrine, there's no way I'm supposed to know what I'm telling y'all without having been in the lodge. They won't find my name on their lodge record. But I'm telling you how the masters try to awaken the next master. 2Pac was trying to awaken the next master. Only thing that he did not realize, right, is that only a woman can raise Hiram. This woman has to have a mother named Mimi, and she had to be one of the jinn, and or some got to be related to the jinn, or a genie, or a genie. All this got to be tied somehow to an Orion 3-star Orion representation. Orion, Lake Orion, Orion Township. All of this got to be present when this Scorpio, being the only one that can rise from death to Phoenix, comes from the underworld, right? Goes through all of the phases. One of the phases is the wolf, by the way. That's not a coincidence that Lorenzo middle name mean the dog, and his first name mean a very specific type of tree. I forgot. It's a tree. It's no coincidence that Lorenzo means some trees and the word Rodney or the name Rodney mean a forest. That's not an accident. And that Medicis were the blood Grail kings rising to power in Italy at the time, and that I'm the blood Grail king right now. I am the crown prince and the only heir to the throne. And so when he say 50 niggas, he only waiting on with these 50 sisters. Now, for y'all that don't understand why the 50 niggas or the 50 kings of the Melchizedek order and the 50 sisters are relevant. I'm going to show you where they're relevant. This is the rise of the planet of the apes and the relevance of the 50 niggas, as Pac called them, and the 50 sisters, as I call them. The 50 niggas is facilitators because they ruler guys and conquerors. They facilitators. They create a condition, situation, or circumstance in which the 50 sisters will find the least amount of resistance as they return to their power. And so this 50 sisters had to be represented by a 50-year-old guy who have attained the age of elder. So he got to be at least 50. He had to be the age of the elder. I turned 50 November the 10th. He had to be born under the zodiacal sign of the Scorpio, because the Scorpio is the only sign that can go from death to Phoenix, right? Scorpio has Libra, which is Mach, between Virgo and Scorpio, meaning between the woman and her protector lies the scales of justice. What did that mean? Now, if you go to The Secret Doctrine or Isis Unveiled by Madam H.P. Blavatsky, she tell you that Scorpio and Virgo was once the same sign. Something happened a long time ago where the Libra was put between them. Now, Virgo Scorpio became Virgo, Libra, then Scorpio, which means in order for the Scorpion, the backbiter, to be able to defend the maiden, because they call him the backbiter because his tail swings from the back to the front. The Scorpion King story, it's the same story. And so the Scorpion has to protect the Virgin Mary, Virgo. In order for him to get back to that, he has to get past the judgment. That's why you have the scales between them now. because the man and the woman are off balance. How do you know this? Look at the scales of justice. She's blindfolded. Mott's never been blindfolded. She has a sword of truth behind her back. Mott never hid her sword of truth. She always spoke with truth. Then you have she had the blindfold, the sword, and the scales are off balance. As long as the scales are off balance, that means that justice does not reign. If the scales are balanced, that's why your heart has to be lighter than a feather, right? What do that mean? That means that all of the iniquity in you, all your negative, all of your 7 deadly sins you have did a systematic elimination. Once you do that systematic elimination, the only thing left in you is the goodness of your divinity. And because of this, everybody has to attain their highest aspect of self, their divine self. Now, 2Pac went through the whole industry. He ran into some walls trying to get everybody they just do. But the only reason he couldn't is because at that time, nobody really was on a level enough to give him what he needed intellectually. He had everything that he needed militarily. He had everything he needed philosophically. He had every consort. The only thing he needed was a military strategist and an heir to the throne, and he'd have been unstoppable. He knew this. So 22 years later, he started making the scene ready for him to make his appearance in support of the one they call the Son of Man. And so, hey, we got some Virgos in the house. Hey, Brooks. Kavi, what's up, God? See what else I need to say something to. All right. I'm not going to get all of it. So, 2Pac, based off military strategy with nothing else, can't be dead. If you follow it, he said he's doing everything righteous by the rules of war. He ain't dead. If you're following the rules of war, he ain't dead. Now, the whole thing, we go through this shit and we look at who is behind it then. Now, it was made to be confusing, so it's difficult to unravel. It's difficult to unravel. And trying to unravel it, you keep looking directly in the face because you got to follow the money of Jimmy Iovine, Ted Fields, and it was another one. Jimmy Iovine, Ted Fields, and Clive Davis. Now, you might say Clive ain't had nothing to do with it, but Clive was the bank behind Bad Boy. Clive was the bank behind LaFace. Almost all of the record companies that was black in the 90s was Clive Davis. Clive Davis is Jewish Defense League. Jimmy Iovine, Jewish Defense League. Ted Fields, Jewish Defense League. Tommy Mottola, Jewish Defense League. All the motherfuckers is dirty. All of them are the ones controlling the industry, that Hollywood. And in them controlling Hollywood, they have control over the artists through what they call the contract, the lien against the body. As long as they hold a lien against the body, then they can basically steal your soul, because they know a couple of things. This is what they know. That if you got the blood of the kings and you have, and the purpose is to make them unfit to rule. Yeah, 2Pac ain't buying it. He not buying it. So if he's not buying that, and he know they coming. They told him. They called him up on the telephone. They're gonna kill you. If you go to the Biggie song, you will hear at the beginning Biggie going over one of the types of phone calls that all of these artists get, all of these entertainers get, the death threats, where Puffy playing the skit of the phone caller and Biggie playing his part where he answering the phone and Puffy breathing phone, I'll kill you, bitch. I'll kill you. And then Biggie like, oh, you soft, dude. You soft. Because they all had the same enemy. From what I'm looking at, I don't trust Puffy right now. Either Puffy, and I don't trust Snoop. Now, either them niggas playing their part too goddamn good, or them niggas is the police. They either playing their part too goddamn good, or them niggas the police. And I got reason to believe that Snoop might be an agent. Now, y'all got to do y'all research. Research who Snoop's father was and how he got into the industry, how he even met Daz and all of them. Go back into his history. Now, if he hear this shit, he'll get nervous as fuck that I'm telling y'all to dig his history up, right? Now, remember 187, he was in the middle of a court case where a dude got killed. And his bodyguard shot a dude that was trying to shoot him. He's got my attention. I'm going to tell you why. The way that the case went down, he had a legitimate bodyguard who had a legitimate firearm license, right? And this legitimate bodyguard with this legitimate firearm license and a legitimate firearm shoot at a shooter and kills him to protect the guy that he's bodyguard. Every court in this country, that is called self-defense, but it's not defending the self. They got a law where a lethal force is legal in the defense of another life. It don't have to be yours. It could be your family, your kids. But in the case of the bodyguard, you don't charge bodyguards with murder when somebody is coming to kill their client. That's the biggest anomaly to me. They charged them. Why did they beat the case? They beat the case because you cannot charge somebody with a murder if their job is bodyguard. You automatically gonna win the case. So the powers that be got to know this because they didn't let bodyguards go before for it. It's the same place in the same geographical area in California, in the same county, where bodyguards and defended people and shot and got attempted murders, and they never charged them. And they got murders and they never charged them. Or they fuck somebody up, break a motherfucker, leave them permanently handicapped, but they don't get charged because they're defending the client. So, Kavi, who you say sold they sold? You gotta be more clear with that, huh? 2Pac denied Quincy. Yes. Quincy was the one who was trying to initiate 2Pac into the industry with that gay shit, and 2Pac put him on blast. But when 2Pac put him on blast, it had a different result, because then he knew that the Grail Kings were returning, because 2Pac already was wired up as to what was going to take place when he met Quincy. And the way that he dealt with it show you that this was a little bit expected, because he turned it into a joke. He turned it into a joke while he was talking to Quincy, and his cousin just so happened to be present, so you can understand. And his cousin got an interview that you can go look up where he talk about the incident. Oh, Snoop. I don't know, man. I still got some more investigating to do on Snoop, but I believe he's an agent. I don't believe he sold his soul. I believe he's an agent, and there's a difference. It's an undercover cop, not a snitch. He the police. It's a difference. An undercover cop is not a snitch. He's the police. There's a difference. The trial, Kavi, I think was a compelling spectacle. I think it was just to make him look like he was about to be martyred. But I don't think he sold his soul at that point anyway. If he sold his soul, it would have been much later, like in the last couple of years when he started doing that Um, yeah, Jay-Z made the song The Evils. Jay-Z telling you something. If you look at his album covers, Jay-Z know what's going on, and I'm gonna leave that at that because I'm not finna drag Jay-Z out of what he doing because I don't want to interfere with his progress. I know what he doing. Um, I know what Trump doing, and I can't really go too deep into that. But Trump wants the wall for the Exodus. The wall is found in Operation Cable Splicer in the section of the Readiness Exercise 1984, which is a critical year. In the end result, right, there's a whole lot of information that, unless I directly talk to 2Pac, I'm not going to put out in the public.